Introduction to App Configuration in Expo. So welcome to our session. We're going to talk about Expo's configuration files. So we're going to learn how to configure Expo app through files like app.json, app.config.js, or app.config.ts if you're using TypeScript. And these configuration files play an important role in controlling your application's behavior, appearance, and functionality within the Expo ecosystem. File location and basic structure. So in any Expo project, the configuration file holds the key to customizing the application's behavior. And this file sits at the root of your project next to the package.json file. The reason why it is sitting right next to the package.json file is that this configuration is easily accessible and central to the project structure. So we're going to take a look at this very simple example of an app.json file where you can define basic properties like the app's name and slug. So understanding this structure is important first step in understanding more detailed config file properties and its capabilities. Config file properties. So there are many properties available, and each property in a config file kind of unlocks a new aspect of your app. So you can use this config file property to choose an icon or design a splash screen or configure deep linking. So these properties are the tools for customization, but if you want to know more about this, all the available properties, please visit this site that has all the list of properties that are available. Or by the time you are seeing this lecture, you probably would have installed Visual Studio Code. So you can use Visual Studio Code extension. It's called Expo Tools to enhance the configuration experience. So this Expo Tools extension offers auto completion for app.json properties, and it also has other features that allows developers to minimize errors. Accessing configuration values. If you need to access your app's configuration at runtime, you can do that with Expo. The way to do it is using constants.expo config. So you will need to import constants from Expo constants and then access those. but it is important to not expose some of the sensitive information. We will definitely talk about more on which fields are safe to include and how you can securely access config value in a code in another lecture. Extending configuration with plugins. So we're going to cover more on this, but just to give you a brief overview, Expo config plugins allows your app's configuration to be extended beyond the basics. So what these plugins do is these plugins allow you to customize the pre-build process and integrate any additional native functionalities. Dynamic configuration. So one really cool thing about Expo configuration is that you can dynamically configure, which means you may want to have different configuration based on your environment variable. So for example, say you have two different environment, production environment and development environment, then you may want to uh, have kind of configuration within if else statements so that your configuration dynamically changes. Using TypeScript for configuration for those of you using TypeScript, it is possible to use TypeScript with Expo and even for the configuration files. Good thing about using TypeScript for the configuration file is that uh, TypeScript offers type checking, autocomplete, and like a document blocks. And this can really help if you have a somewhat complex configuration. Configuration resolution rules. So this is really important if you want to make sure that your intended configurations are applied correctly. So you want to understand how Expo resolves configuration files. That's everything I have for this lecture. Thank you, everyone.